zombies. Y'all play zombies or?
We did.
Yeah, we were playing zombies last night, and till like 2 a.m.
Dang.
Around midnight, I was like, hey guys, I got like 1 or 2 more multiplayer rounds. And then David goes, wait, what if we end the night on a round of zombies? And I'm like, you know what, that sounds like a great idea.
But we kept going.
Next thing we know, it's 2:30 in the morning, and we're like, okay, we gotta just we gotta finish this thing.
This has got to sit. It's frozen solid.
Okay.
So I have another drink though. I came up with another one, so I'll make that one for you guys real quick.
So how's zombies?
It's bad.
Bad.
Bad as in I'm like addicted.
Oh, okay.
Kaylee, she's cracking me up. She's like, Carter, you any free time you get, you're just going to play around in multiplayer or a couple rounds of zombies and just and I go, that's what's great, Kaylee. I'm like, normally the past few years it's either like single player or you're doing like a battle royale. It's like, hey, I can't quit right now. Like I have to stay in here.
Right.
So it's nice because
They're quick.
They're quick. If you play zombies solo too, you can just save your game and leave. So you can just load
No
back.
way.
Yeah, you can have one save file.
Oh.
So you can come back in and just keep going from where you were.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
It is.
Because you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's fun. They're just a quick
You
round.
can go ahead and sip this because they will warm up, but I'll take a sip on camera.
Okay.
Gotta make it one at a time.
No, you're fine. Okay, that wasn't a look of where's Mike?
It looked like a look of excitement.
That's exactly what it is.
It's good. It's refreshing.
So the one.
I know you guys can't really hear the music, but it's dope. Welcome to Epic Screen Time, where we are 3 friends who discuss the things that occupy our screens. So grab your remote, popcorn, or controller, and let's go. I'm Garrett. I'm joined by my co-hosts Carter and Sam. Today, we are talking about aliens. And speaking that this will come out on Halloween, happy Halloween, everyone. You know, it's my favorite holiday just because you get a little excuse to be a little dumb, crazy, and I don't mean that in like, hey, you can, do
Break
whatever.
the law.
Yeah. Yeah, don't shoot fireworks off over your neighbor's house and set it on fire. Let's not do that one again. Yeah, so before we start with the aliens conversation, what have y'all been excited about since the last time we talked? You Striker?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for me, the new Black Ops. It's been a good time. That's what Garrett and I have been playing this weekend.
I mean, we were up to like 2:30
Oh,
playing last night.
That's rare, I feel like, as a grown adult to have a game that keeps you up.
Yeah.
Like past midnight.
Oh yeah.
We were playing with our other neighbor, and he was like, "Hey guys, I'm tired," and I was like, "Dude, just leave." And he goes, "Nah, I'm not a quitter." I was like, "We're not mad that you want to leave. Like, it's late. If Hallie were here, I would have gone to bed before we even started."
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are y'all enjoying so much about it? Is it multiplayer, zombies, campaign, everything? What hooked y'all the most? What are y'all thinking about?
I have not played the campaign yet. I'm
Okay.
trying to, that was going to be what I've been most excited about. I've been playing like all the DLCs that have come out or replaying games that I haven't played in a long time. So like I played Starfield, the DLC. I played Breakpoint.
Nice.
What was the other DLC? I played some other DLC. Cyberpunk.
Okay. After your COD thoughts, I want to hear the quick summary thoughts on Starfield DLC.
Yeah. So, and then now I'm playing GTA. So I don't want to start another campaign before I finish GTA. But the
Makes
zombies
sense.
has been fun. Like I enjoyed zombies, but it's always been a communal game.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like that's what it's designed to be.
I mean, like legitimately, I was not buying BO6 until one of y'all
Friends
bought
got it. Yeah.
because I'm not gonna play. Like I have no desire to do the multiplayer grind this time. Like I've just never enjoyed the BO6 or the Black Ops kind of like storylines or weapon systems. I'm over inundated with the 3,000 attachments and they for such minimal things, unless there's a bug, which there is right now, like where if you use this attachment with this one, it gives you this which is not described, and so like I'm over it.
Oh yeah, that's frustrating.
And so I just don't care anymore. So I was never intending on buying the BO6 game unless y'all did for zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And so multiplayer's been fun though. Like playing with you guys. It's been fun. It was nice change.
Okay.
So I mean that's what's kept me into it.
Yeah, we go objective. Just go for the dub. You
Yep.
get too frustrated trying to keep your KD up these days. So
Yeah. So But as for Starfield, for as big of a it's a year later. It came out too late. It has no consequence.
DLC or Starfield in general?
DLC.
Okay.
DLC.
I didn't even think about that. That's true.
And there's so much potential for it to have like universe-wide or galaxy-wide ramifications, but it doesn't. No matter what option you choose in the end, it just has like these little events happen throughout the universe, but not like a big full-time. Like it could have changed everything, but it doesn't. The map feels a lot more like the old like Skyrim maps where you're running around on the planet the whole time.
More dense in one area.
One small circle. But they give you a vehicle now. You have a land vehicle. The problem is the planet's too narrow for you to be able to drive it around. So you end up having to do these like little boost jumps to make it worthwhile. And even then, the terrain is not well done because it's on an old graphics engine. And so some of the graphics are just randomly floating. And I'm not even talking about the anti-gravity things that they found, which are only around the main area. They're not throughout the rest of the planet. So they're just in this one little area. You never use them. So it was a cool story, but failed in execution. Like Andreja had, I went out of my way because I had finished my first playthrough. So I was on the next one. I went out of my way to go get her and build a relationship, hoping she'd have more conversation on her home planet.
Right.
No. So I spent hours hoping that this will give me so much more context, and nothing.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that it came out too late because usually it feels like these big expansions for like these huge narrative like story-driven games kind of give it like revitalize the game in a sense. Like think about Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk, but it just feels like it came and went like the smallest splash. For what's it called Shattered Dimensions,
Shattered Planet, Shattered Earth, Shattered
something. Yeah.
Shattered Space.
Shattered Space. That's what it is.
It had something to do.
Yeah. No, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. But what about you? What you been?
Yeah, I feel like there's two things that have been getting me pretty excited since we last spoke. Show-wise, I've talked a little bit about this, but I've been very hooked on The Penguin, which is a spin-off show based off of Matt Reeves' The Batman. So it's based around the Penguin from the Batman movie, and I've absolutely loved it. It is based around, it's more. Well, the Batman was very grounded. I feel like in general, like that take. This one feels very grounded as well, like very much, very realistic, like not much like superhero comical aspects, and it just does a great job of keeping you on the edge of your seat, like not knowing if someone's going to get caught, if they're going to get away with something. I won't get into spoilers, but I've really enjoyed it. It's a great expansion of that universe, and it adds a lot of context to the Penguin's character. So if you like the Batman, I strongly recommend that. And then for games, I've been playing Metaphor ReFantazio, which is like the newest JRPG from the people who made the Persona series, so Persona 3, 4, and 5. Those guys, as soon as it's like three of like the head creators for Persona 5. As soon as they finished Persona 5, they left the studio. They made their own game, and it's not because they had any issues with like Atlas or the rest of the team. They just wanted to go different direction. The Persona series is like very much you're a kid in high school, something's crazy going on in the world, and you team up with other high school kids. Metaphor is like very fantasy, like high fantasy, like knights and fairies and those type of things, and it's been really good. It's like a political based, just like the high summary of the game is the king dies and like this huge land, and everybody's battling to see who's going to be the next king. That's been fun.
It sounds interesting. I wish, like, looking at the gameplay, like I wish I could get into it because like I feel like a lot of those JRPGs have such great stories.
Yeah,
I just like the gameplay is just not for me, and
it's a hard sales pitch, a 90-hour game for turn-based combat.
Yeah. Okay, I was just about to ask, what's the combat?
Yeah, it's turn-based.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you have to really enjoy like Paper Mario and things
you do.
like that. Yeah,
you totally do.
Back in the day, I enjoyed those, like Dragon Age. Like, so when this comes out, what's the new one?
Veilguard.
Well,
Veilguard's fully action, so...
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is because they saw that people were just turn-based to kind of run its course.
It's more of a niche-based versus the general public of gamers. So, yeah. Great game, but definitely not for everybody.
Yep. All right. Well, then let's move on. And today we're going to move on to our drink, which it looks like Sam's about to finish.
Yeah.
I had to make each one individually, so I gave them out ahead of time. But it is. I got to pull my notes because I already forgot. I had a name of No One Can Hear You in Space, but I don't like that, so I'm going to call it the Serum, based off of Romulus, of what I in my brain what the serum would look like in your blood after you've taken it. So it is vodka, triple sec, pomegranate juice, lemon juice, Chambord, and I didn't make a garnish of any type because didn't feel like I needed to. But yeah, it's all mixed together and then served. And
It's a winner.
And a chilled
It's tasty.
glass.
Nice.
So
I've enjoyed it.
But yeah, so we're here. We're talking today about the Alien series. Having rewatched all of them, there's a lot of growth that happens in this that I think needed to happen. I don't know if you've. I know you recently rewatched some of them.
Yep.
Sam. But you can see a lot of like other movies. Having just rewatched them and looking at them through this lens, I realized that the first Aliens and the second one even had so much ripples in the water for movies after it.
Yes.
Like horror movies especially, like you can see a lot of like the Sam Raimi where he got a lot of his stuff, just from those movies. And I'm putting a hard asterisk on this. I should say, when we talked about doing this, I initially said Alien 3 and Resurrection we would never talk about. Having just watched them, I stand by that decision.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't rewatch them.
So I'll give a quick synopsis of the series. So you start with, we're going to go chronological rather than based off release.
Is Alien not the first? Or Prometheus.
Prometheus and
Right.
Covenant are the first. So basically, there is hieroglyphics or like cave paintings all over the earth that point towards like a star system. A bunch of humans go to the star system, and that's where they find the engineers who are trying to recreate the alien with this black goo, and it infects a human. And basically, from there, it's this company is continually trying to create this, be the new engineers and create new aliens. That's Prometheus and Covenant. We're just going to move on to those. In Aliens, you run into a space freighter who is told to go to this beacon, and they find an alien. And from there, you get this kickoff of like, it's a fully formed alien. It is just messing with them. And so that same alien kind of causes a ripple effect where it just keeps running into them. Like it's not dying the way they think it should. And, and so it's just this constant fight with this alien species that is
Perfect organism.
It is a perfect organism. And, so yeah, it's like I'm not giving the story credence, but I mean I'm covering like
The general
8 movies.
Yeah,
It's
you're doing
hard.
great. You're doing
So
great.
to talk about 3 and Resurrection real quick. So Aliens 3, I would include that in the canon. It's a good ending. It does resolve the story. I just really felt like it was just a lackluster story. Like it finishes it, but it was like, oh, let's just get it out here. And then Resurrection is horrendous. Like they moved away from practical effects to like pure CGI. The story makes no sense. I wrote a review for this, and just like there's a lot of science in there that they have to ignore certain science for it to work. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let me suspend disbelief for that to work. How did Ripley randomly, magically blend with the alien queen and have all the good things, but none of her memory, but some of her memory, but not all of it? I'm like, the memory is one substance. Like, yeah, like we know from like, Alzheimer's and dementia patients that you can lose portions of memory, but to be able to recall, like it's all in the same section. And so like it didn't make any sense, and it just ends horribly. Like it's terrible. Like I don't understand. It's just the door lock.
Okay.
And so
Yeah, never seen Resurrection. I've seen 3 long time ago and barely remember it, but remember enough to know I didn't really like it that much.
Do you think Resurrection was just a money grab?
I mean, it came out in 97. I think it was, if it were Disney, I would call it a copyright creation, because that's why we get a lot of like the live action movies. It's at the end of their copyright cycle. So if they put out a new version of it, they get to maintain the copyright for like Beauty and the Beast for another like 25 years or whatever their copyright life cycle is.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't make sense. It did not do well. It made $47 million in its lifetime gross. Its opening weekend was only $16 million. I mean, granted, that is better than Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which we definitely did not include those. They're not considered canon by anyone.
Requiem is so bad.
Yeah, which the directors have said they're going to try to reboot that one. I
enjoyed AVP.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a great movie, but it's a fun concept.
It did $80 million in its lifetime. So, what's out of the movies? This is Alien, Romulus. Actually, you know what? Let's pause and let's just talk about Romulus. And just that one has just came out. You can go watch it at home. I highly recommend you watch it at home, but be aware. It's the first half of the movie is very Aliens 2. It's very action focused. You know, your adrenaline's pumping not because of scare, but because of just like that action oriented mindset. The last 30 minutes, your adrenaline's pumping because it's weird. It is crazy, and there are some really good jump scenes at the end.
Yeah.
The last 30 minutes make it a completely different movie, in my opinion. And it really cements it as one of the movies I will never forget.
Yeah.
So
it was great. I mean, and I would say as far as like scare level, even seeing recently, like with modern day effects, I still feel like Alien 1 is a scarier film.
It's a true horror film.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like they do a better job like building suspense, keeping you in the dark. But yeah, Alien Romulus definitely has its scary moments for sure.
I will go ahead and say spoilers, heavy spoilers, because I want to get into this, and I'll put a timestamp for you to jump to if you want to skip Romulus. But favorite scene? Let's start with Sam. He's been quiet. Or Carter. Sorry, he's been quiet.
I mean, mine's probably the same as Sam's. The no gravity or zero gravity scene. Really enjoyed that one. Just like I was saying, the way that we've seen, hey, the alien blood is going to be acid. It's going to hurt you. And so they introduce something, with about 30, 40 minutes left that kind of makes you go, ooh. What are they supposed to do? Okay.
Yeah. I said heavy
No,
spoilers.
that's fair. So we're not allowed to shoot the guns. How are we supposed to defend ourselves? Aliens have acid. It's going to go through the bottom of the floor. And then she has the idea, let's go no gravity. And I thought that was pretty cool. The other thing I really enjoyed, the beginning of the movie, the old like analog just tech kind of reminded me of older sci-fi. And just brought me right back to just high school of, okay, we're back like this. It was a good sci-fi action movie that had a little bit of horror. And that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do a different scene just because, it's not repeating. I do want to add one more thing to the zero gravity scene. One, it's such a...
It's honestly kind of beautiful the way they did it.
It is beautiful, and it's one of those scenes that as you're watching it, you're like, how has this not been done before? This whole series is based in space. Gravity is almost like, synonymous with space, with all these movie settings. It's like, how have they never thought to have a scene where what if we cut the gravity for these aliens, and it works so well. This is just something I love about the good alien movies in general. Is they very much... They don't just make a scene that's cool and then, you kind of have to mentally accept some like plot holes. They do a good job, especially in Alien 1. We can talk about this later, but they do a good job of saying, okay, if we were to make this scene, what are the shortcomings if we went about it with this route? What would be the difficulties in it? And it's like, okay, zero gravity. Their acid blood is going to be everywhere. How do you get around that? The setup for it, I just thought was super creative. It's like, okay, I get turning off the gravity, like takes an advantage away from them. And it's probably something they've never experienced. So it gives you an advantage in that aspect. But also they're trying to not just kill these animals. These aliens, they're trying to survive. Right. Acid blood everywhere in the middle of space. Like you got your security systems, but as soon as it opens up the ship, like all the I don't know the technical word for it, but the ship's almost going to implode because of all the open sections to this to space. So I just loved how it's like, hey, here's our solution to this. They got the acid blood everywhere. We can let it rip with this gun. Because even and not to go too much on a tangent, but in Aliens, there's one scene where they go into the nest of the aliens to try and get their friends back, their comrades, and halfway through when they're down there, they get the command from their commander, like, do not shoot your guns because it's going to explode the entire plant if they use their guns. So it gives you that, and in turn makes an amazing scene in Aliens. But in Romulus, it's like, hey, don't use your guns because soon as you kill one of these things, acid blood is going to blow up this ship and we're all going to die. So it's like...
Yeah, explosive decompression, yeah.
Supposed to be compression. So in my mind, it's like, I'd rather die that way than get in a face hugger and having my chest blown up.
Yeah.
But they do it so well. It's like zero gravity, blood's flying everywhere. Yep. The auto aim assist gun, I mean,
that was cool.
Incredible.
But I will say for this, you can't introduce new technology that is not further in the series. Like, why did the Space Marines not have it in Aliens?
Yeah, I don't know.
They didn't have the aim assist. Maybe they were just better.
Maybe they were better.
They did have a little bit of a gun fu thing from like what was that? Equilibrium.
Well,
you
they
know, the
do
little
have
dance
some
with
aspects.
Yeah.
They do have some aspects. Like think about the auto turret.
But I mean, it was just motion.
Yeah, but it's a. I think you can make a line of logic of like, hey, we had the aim assist for these turrets that could be instilled into like an assault rifle.
Yeah,
I get it. I don't think it's as egregious as like force healing.
Oh yeah.
We don't have to go down that tangent, but I get it. So I just want to add that to that scene. I think honorable mention is the first time we see the face huggers when they break out of that room that they're closed in. So Rain, tries to smash in the door. You see the cracks on the door, and it's like, okay, there's going to be a callback to that cracked door, even though it doesn't fully open. Andy finally gets the door open. They're running. Also, just the suspense of all the face huggers like in the water. Like, what makes a face hugger even scarier? One you can't see, and it's in the water like under your feet.
It's like the movie Anaconda from back in the day.
Yes,
yeah.
It's literally like Jaws. Like anything about any horror movie that's like based in the water where you can't see. So that scene was great, but specifically when they are sprinting back, and you just see these face huggers break through the door, and it's like literally dozens and dozens of them, just like full effect, running as fast as they can. And what I love about that is, I don't know if all of them are, but majority of them are practical effects. Like they're real face huggers that they had little RC cars under that are just running, and it's all like animatronics. So I thought that was a really well done scene.
I think that's like just again, I'm gonna put a pin in that one. We'll come back to it. Yeah, I think my favorite scene is probably just any of the scenes that have a natural leap in logic. Like it's not like we're gonna do this because I just thought of it. It's like the dad joke triggers we can use gravity.
Yes, well done.
Hey, we're using the cryo freeze to get rid of their tail. What if we put that on ourselves and lower our body heat? Such smart individuals, and I think that's
why is cryo freeze never done as well?
Well, I honestly, I was watching a video that was talking about this. Why was it not done in the first one? Is because of Ash said we can't use it; it'll damage the human.
Ship? Oh, the human. Oh, on the facehugger, does he really say that?
Yeah, on the first
smart.
Alien. So because we know now, Rook and Ash are tied together, so they know about the alien. So they've been.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, but so good.
Such a good villain, but I mean,
yeah,
we'll come back to that.
But yeah, like just that argument of like, hey, that who's our new boy, and Andy was like, hey, you can't get scared. You can't raise goosebumps, nothing.
Right.
Because they're triggered off heat. And also I think that also lended some additional like information about the aliens that we didn't really have. There was honestly no need for it in the previous movies. But because they're introducing this new idea, we get to have, we're learning new things about the aliens, which to me is one of the things that I do not like about this series. We know nothing. We have 2 movies that are all about the mythology of the stupid aliens, and we still know nothing about them, and we know nothing about the engineers, which apparently there's a deleted scene in the engineers where they talk about like, hey, we gave you Jesus to try and explain this, and you guys killed him. Like, like I would love to even if they didn't say it was Jesus, they gave like some, like, we've given you people and you just killed them all. Like, I would love to have had some more context.
What do you mean we don't know nothing about the xenomorphs?
I
It's
mean,
essentially they're designed by the engineers to be like weapons
they
of
weren't
mass
designed by the
destruction.
engineers. The lore states that they found reference of them in their past, and they're the perfect weapon, and they were trying to design it for their system. Like, that's the whole problem, is that there's
I thought it was that the engineers wanted a more efficient way to take dominion over like the universe. So they created the xenomorph.
They co-opted what they found. Those little jars weren't theirs. That's why they were afraid of it. That's why in Prometheus they were running from it.
They didn't create them. They just simply found them and they used them as a weapon.
Yeah. So so basically humans are just repeating what the engineers have done, and the engineers are just basically the precursors to humans. And so, like, we still know nothing about the aliens. Like, we just don't know anything.
But also we know so much too.
We
like that's something that, and we can talk about this later, but I just love how, like, there's no way they would have known the franchise they can make just by making Alien. But the amount of little tidbits they drop, like you see a scene of the engineer like in the ship, like what you see one dead right at the start of the movie. Like, just so many things that, you got the face huggers. How do face huggers create the aliens? The whole hive system, like how they will store humans so that they can use the face huggers on them in their nest. Like, there's just so many small tidbits that they'll spend like 1 minute on in Alien that turn into like huge scenes in these later movies that I thought was just really well done.
The world building was great, and I like in my reviews I talked about this. Like, Aliens 3 and Resurrection have the original writers from Alien and Aliens as writers, but I'm curious if they are like
involved really.
If they gave them like the main story, like they're a credit versus actually being involved, because the stories don't feel the same.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. Like Resurrection is a horrendous movie. And like, I'm like, how did we go from Alien and Aliens to this?
Yeah.
You guys built this whole mythology and you give one-line sentences to justify thousands of plot holes. Like it is crazy, the leaps in logic they have to do for Resurrection to make sense. And so, I on Romulus, I honestly think Romulus might be my favorite. And I need to make a, I'm trying to think podcast logistics right now too, and just, do I want to say, hey, you can come back now? I'll put another pen in this one. I forgot my other pen, but I'm gonna put a pen in this one. Let's talk about the last 30 minutes. Or last 40 minutes, because I don't think in general Bjorn or Byron or whatever his name is, that dude's a tool. And
worst character by far.
I understand his argument of like, oh, I hate androids because they killed my mom. The android didn't kill your mom. The android saved so many people, and your mom happened to be one of the people that had to die to save those people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd all be dead.
Right.
But
it's like iRobot.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly my thought. I was like, it's just iRobot. Got it. All right, cool.
Yes, I mean, very, very similar to that. What I will say is, I mean, it's not nearly comparable. But think about Ripley after Alien. You remember in Aliens how much she hates the first android?
But that makes sense. She was deceived
right.
over and over and over.
I know, it's not completely the same, but you can at least understand the line of logic of like being burned so badly. And he's a kid, like he's prideful. He's a super prideful character.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I like him because he's easily my least favorite character, but at least they give you some background as to why he's such a dick to Andy.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I feel like it's a throwaway. Like, here's our justification for someone not to like the alien. I also like that our protagonist was like, they were friends, and it gave a different side to the androids, because like all the androids have been, I mean, Michael Fassbender being absolutely nutty, which honestly Michael Fassbender is probably my favorite android. Just, I think it's so hard to beat Ash. But Michael Fassbender had to do two characters, two different people, two different styles of android, and just the movement. Like, if you go watch like the beginning of Covenant again, just his little like walk and playing the piano, like,
Fassbender's a great actor.
Good. Like, Michael Fassbender is outstanding. But I loved how Bjorn, whatever his name is, I think it's Byron. I loved how he died.
Really?
Mainly because not because of like, oh, I'm glad the character died, but because we actually got to see the acid really attack someone versus it being just this spray effect from a killed alien. Like it,
When it's like burning through his arm.
yeah. Like
I feel like we saw some scenes in that in Aliens.
Yeah,
like
but
when the soldiers are getting back to the ship.
It just sprayed on them and they all survived. They get burned half their face off and they still survived for a little bit. You're talking about sulfuric and hydrofluoric acid. Like that stuff will burn through whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And so melting his hand. Like I was like, it was finally.
Cool.
We get to see the effects of the acid that has been such a plague in this series actually do something to a human other than just being like a tangential, like it's the edges of its like reach. Like if we were talking about Call of Duty and it's like, losing damage because of distance type deal. Like that I really enjoyed. Just again, world building. And I honestly like, I think the only other question I have in world building is when did Wayland and Yutani join together? Where's that piece of information? Because Prometheus and Covenant's the Wayland company.
Yep.
And then after it's the Wayland Yutani company, and they're just complete tools. So who's the more aggressive like human experiment group? Yeah. Is it Yutani or is it Wayland? I think it's Wayland, but so last 30 minutes.
Yep. What I mean, like just thoughts in general on it.
We'll start with thoughts and then we'll talk about it and then we'll.
So in general, I don't like to be a person who like gets caught up on like what I perceive as kind of a plot hole and let something ruin it. Yeah. I try and look past like things that I would see as plot holes.
Yeah, what is it? I'm curious because like I enjoyed it. So
I enjoyed the last 30 minutes as well. The only kind of issue I had with it is I just found female character, I can't remember her name, the pregnant girl, her taking the serum, the medicine. I just found that a little bit unrealistic.
Did they show her taking it, or
yes.
you just
saw?
You see her
when
grab
she's
it.
in the elevator.
Oh, okay.
You see her take it.
You were dozing off at 3:30 in the morning.
I must have been because I remember whenever she went to go check in on her, and that's where
she sees it. She's like, oh yeah.
Okay.
I just find that it just me personally, I find it a little unrealistic because she's already got a plan. She's almost at the cryo tank.
But speaking of how in the dark she was, and then all you hear is Rook saying, "Hey, look, this will give you." Will make you better when you see the little video before the rat dies of the rat getting better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I can understand.
Yeah, we have that context. It's just
she was so in the dark. She was, like she has no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. You also hear Rain saying like, I don't trust it. And like, what are her chances of surviving? Like you hear that. And Andy gives her like I can't remember the percentage. It wasn't very
60,
reassuring.
40.
Yeah. It wasn't reassuring, especially when she was so close. Like she was in the clear. But I mean,
she was already hurt. I forgot about that. Yeah,
she was hurt. Yeah. But
so I mean, like if you're, I guess we can ask your wife what links she would go to.
Yeah.
What links would you go to if you could save your kid? And I'm trying not to use your kid's name.
Yeah. I mean, I want to take it on. There's things worse than death, and we saw something way worse than death.
But would you take something experimental if it would allow your kid to live?
Probably. I mean, there's so much context that depends. If it's something that's like developed from like the most horrific alien of all time and it's only been tested on rats. If it had been tested on other humans, like she's test 1 for humans.
Yeah, she is.
So I would not let my wife be test number 1 for a serum.
That's fair. All right, fair enough.
But I mean, looking past that, I thought it was a great scene. I loved the cryo usage and a lot of like great climatic moments, like barely getting on the suit. I felt like that was very like a callback to Alien 1 where Ripley is in her standalone suit. She's very quietly trying to get on her like or her oxygen suit. Not exactly the same, but felt somewhat similar. And
very reminiscent.
Yeah, very reminiscent. And then obviously the jump scare got me really bad. I told you that even though I knew it was coming, it still got me.
You sent something in Discord going, "Oh, that last jump scare got me a little bit," and they're going back up into the ship, and she's climbing herself back up, and I'm like, I don't know what Sam's talking about. And then like 2 seconds later, it pops up like, oh,
Yeah.
it got me too.
It's like one of those ones where it's like you can rewatch the movie and I feel like it would still get you.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever see? I mean, you obviously saw it in The Dark Knight. You remember when that dead Joker slams against the window of
every
the
time.
mayor?
Yes.
Every time it
Every
got
time.
me.
Yep.
But yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. Besides that one, just personal kind of.
It's a fair
Yeah.
question. Like, you know, and I don't know what I do, you know.
Right.
So, you know, just like that's a fair question. How, you know, I guess, but I think that's probably individually specific.
Would change, yeah, exactly. Some people would be like, "Oh, I can get these superpowers,
and I
can live
at the time. Like it'll help save me and save my kid.
Yeah.
because it has regenerative abilities. All right, cool. I'm down.
yeah,
Like 60-40 is better than I'm probably going to die.
Sure.
You know, 60-40 live is probably better than
I
60-40 I'm going to
convince
die.
them to die." Yeah,
Yeah.
And we don't know what she was feeling in the moment, so
And we don't know how much she trusted Rain. Like there's so much like background information that we don't know. We know they're friendly just based off their conversation, but Rain's definitely
Right.
the outsider.
sure.
I also like going back to Rain and Andy. I don't remember them ever saying that, telling Rain that Andy wasn't allowed on the planet.
That was something that they never do say that. It sounds like something that was like agreed on beforehand, like on an off scene, because she's aware of it.
Yeah,
she knows that
must
she made
be.
that decision.
But like I don't, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way like she would agree to this.
Maybe
If they had been so blatant to tell her. Like
Maybe.
her knowing it and just kind of hiding it from herself, kind of lying to herself.
Yeah.
I can get behind
That's
that
what
one.
I think. I think that's more of the line of logic because
Yeah.
you know her and Andy have such a tight bond, but their living conditions, like where they're living, she's essentially a slave.
Yeah.
Like a mind slave.
Indentured
Yeah.
servant. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I think her hours got changed because her parents died.
Or were dead. No one could fight. No one had the funds to kind of fight. For
I was
her.
thinking that they still owed.
Oh, that's what you were thinking. I was just thinking they're like, this girl has nothing. She can't push back on this. Let's take advantage of it.
In my mind, that's why they asked, where your parents?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's fair.
Because they owed hours or whatever.
I just went with
units.
corporate greed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Which probably
yeah.
probably
I
all
just went
that.
with, those
All the above.
bastards.
Yeah.
Corporate greed.
So
Andy MVP.
Andy is
loved
so good.
Andy.
I honestly, for an android, the way they didn't just give him instant knowledge, they gave him, I'm deducing this based off the information I have at hand and an increased processing power. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Not this like, I got a chip and now I know everything, which is exactly what Resurrection did.
Yeah.
With a throwaway line like, before we were taken offline, I absorbed the entire mainframe. I'm sorry. This is in the future of 2140 whatever, and you're telling me you took on terabytes of information in your Android dome? I'm sorry. That's why Muther exists. You have to unload some of that information. We know this. Like, there's nothing around this. Like, let's just get that little pretend line away. But that's what they did. Hey, he doesn't know the information. He's just making deductions, and he's getting better as, you know, like, hey, that was really close when what's his name came sliding through the door. Well, it was close. It was better than last time.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
Right.
so in the last 2 times, you know, facehuggers have gotten through. So like I really like, it's such a small thing, but it really made
A difference for you.
it made it more believable.
Yeah.
Like for a movie that is science fiction, it's still grounded in reality. And I think, again, that goes back to the practical effects, which was one of the pins I was going to talk about.
So good.
The practical effects, I think, is what took Aliens 3 and Resurrection, just blew them. People don't like them because they went to this CGI. Like, that was right around the time of, like,
Phantom
the
Menace.
Phantom Menace and all that jazz. And so blue screens were the hotness. And so you go back to this, like, hey, practical effects stand the test of time. Like, Alien still looks
scary. Looks
so
great,
good.
It does.
and it's still scary
Because it's all practical. Like, there's a couple, like, you know, cut scenes, but like they don't, like, the reaction of the chest burster is
so good.
real. Like, they didn't tell anyone what was going to happen, and so they don't even tell, like, what's his name, the actor who played Ash has a like he's just standing there, his head's just like this, and they have like a mold on the table.
When you're talking about the very end when he's been disbodied.
Oh, no, not Ash. The guy that had the chest burster, the original one.
Oh, okay.
Like, he's just hanging out with like
Oh,
on a
yeah.
neck pillow, and they put a mold under him. They don't tell the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
That's
So-
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, like, you know, you get all that. Okay. you can now come back to the.
Wait, before we move on.
okay.
Before we move on, I just want to talk a little bit more about Andy. I feel like he deserves more time.
We
to talk about.
need. Okay, let's talk about Andy.
Yeah. One thing that I love about like just the Alien franchise in general, kind of their like side plots that they like to delve a little bit of story into, and the whole humanity kind of thought nugget that they like to deal with, like what defines a soul, humanity, and they love to drive that story through the droids, and I love how they bounce between it. Like the first one, Ash is just straight up evil, like doing what the company wants. Second one, we see the flip side of things. Not a droid. What is the word I'm trying to think of?
Artificial person.
Is it droid? Is that what they reference them as?
I mean, they there's 1,000 names, but the droids all reference themselves as
Right.
artificial persons.
Okay. So the droid in the second movie, who he seems really suspect first half, and he just turns out to be a credible character who ends up saving majority of the cast. And then, Fassbender, bad, good. And then
I wouldn't even call the first Fassbender bad.
Prometheus.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you can
Prometheus.
make
I'd
the whole
call it
argument.
I would say he's experimental. I think he was a different version than all the rest because he's
not very humane.
His is only to keep that one dude alive.
He's the OG. His prime directive is to keep him alive. But when he dies,
Well, I guess this whole gets in the argument of what's good versus bad. Like, is Ash bad, or is he just doing what his direct order from the company is?
But what I was gonna say is that I think the first one, like up until Waylon dies, I would say he's probably on par with like being, like he definitely like. Okay, let me phrase this. Up until we see the alien for the first time, because he's definitely gotten orders from Waylon since then. Mm-hmm. But I would say that up until then he was good.
Yeah.
And I think the death of Waylon made him make a decision for himself that the future androids never had the capability of doing, because he is the original.
Okay.
Because like in Alien Covenant, they're like, people didn't like your model.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You creeped them out. You were untrustworthy because you can make your own decisions.
Right.
And so like his ability to make his own decisions is what caused him to basically commit genocide on the engineer home planet and Covenant. And so, and he's also like, he was experimenting on whatever her name was, he became his own individual. And so...
Yeah, but I just love how they always address that side plot, and I felt like Andy, probably one of my favorite approaches to it, because he has like he goes through both moments where beginning he feels more human than some of the humans, like really has a strong bond with Rain, and then they need access to the ship, so they give him a chip from one of the androids that's already in the ship.
It's from Rook, isn't it?
Yeah. So from Rook or Rook? Rook. So from Rook, it doesn't totally change him, but Rook's thought process start to bleed a little bit into Andy's. Like, I got to do what's good for the company, and then finally he still has that like soul aspect of him that he's fighting between. And finally, the awesome scene where he's malfunctioning, which was what he was kind of doing at the beginning, and then Rain's like, "This is for the good of the company. Like, you being dead doesn't help." So still kind of meeting him where he's at, and then finally takes the chip out, and then that's what makes I feel like the zero gravity scene so great, because it's like Andy and Rain now they have this tight like familial bond.
I'm genuinely curious if his character was trying to fight the new directives that he got from the little.
Like, you can see a lot of facial conflict. I'm sorry when he keeps the girl locked out.
Yeah,
you can just see that he even says, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, it's they've recently announced the last couple of days that they want to make a Romulus 2. I would be down, and it's gonna keep Rain and Andy.
Yeah.
And
so she lives.
I mean, the last thing we saw is she's alive. I mean, they might kill her off. Who knows? In space in 4 seconds in the next movie. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think the actor who plays Andy, he has such great facial control.
Such good facial control.
You can almost feel he's an android from the beginning, even before they kind of announce it, which I really want to understand the seizure the android's having. Like, I don't understand the logistics of that one. I'm just like, hey, why is he malfunctioning? Like, what causes this? And granted, he was in a trash heap and got saved from there. But like, I'm just genuinely curious.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's why he was trash, because he was like a malfunctioning droid, and it was like too much to find the fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other spoilers from Romulus?
I mean, just on the last 30 minutes, like we were talking about.
I guess we never really talked about the birth, so we probably should.
I was hoping we just passed by the birth.
Birth scene sucked.
Apparently, like it's never been done in
It was almost done in Prometheus.
cinema history.
Oh, like a birth scene?
Oh,
Yeah.
like a oh.
And so, and it is creepy.
Oh, it was creepy.
And
It
then-
sucks because it's so good.
And then the baby inside the egg thing, like that's so weird. Like it just throws
So
you off.
Oh,
weird.
yes. Oh.
So
The-
and then you see the giant ass baby alien thing with skin eating like a vampire. What a weird character. Like who comes up with this? And then goes, yeah, that looks cool. Because like it doesn't look cool to me. Like honestly, I'm like, this is just weird.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like the like for it being like a hybrid. I understand what they were going with. I get it. It's weird. It's not enough of one. It's too 50-50 for me.
I think that's what, and I'll come back to you, Carter. I think that's what makes it so great is because it's so unnerving that it literally is. It's like an abomination. It's like, what if you were to put the xenomorph genes, which is like this insect-looking alien, into a human fetus? It looks so unnerving. I thought it was perfect.
I wonder if it is just hitting that uncanny valley for me.
Yeah.
And so and more than
It was hard to look at for me.
Yes.
It was. Yeah.
very hard to look at. Sorry. All right.
No, you're good. I feel like whenever I first saw the new creature alien pop out, it looks similar to the engineers that we saw at the beginning of Prometheus, like the tall, just
Without
slick-
muscle.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So, like,
without
Sam,
muscle, and so that's why I went down. I went down this
I'm
thought
taking
track
shots.
of wait, is this a part of where the engineers came from? Were they doing something with this? But then, like what we just talked about, like no, that they discovered the aliens, and so that's where I was just like, it's too similar to looking like an engineer to then look like an alien. Where I wish it looked a little different there at the end.
I will say, okay, I think we can get off our spoilers.
Yeah, I
We'll
think we
still
can
talk-
move on from Romulus. I would give it a 9. I really enjoyed it.
I agree. I think I gave it a 9. I can check.
Nice. I was gonna go 8.
Yeah. I think 8 is fair. I think it's totally fair.
So before we move into kind of the stats, one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about, I think that if Prometheus and Covenant had been its own series and not tried to tie into aliens, they'd be far better movies.
I didn't get that take when you messaged us that. What do you mean by that?
So
Like-
would they have something different than
Like a
like
different,
alien?
like a different alien, a different even they could keep the engineers because we don't have any reference to the engineers. Otherwise, like
Yeah, we
just-
do.
You have the name, you don't have a visual.
Yeah, you do.
No,
In Alien 1, you see one in the cockpit. The engineer, you
'Cause
know,
the- 'cause
you know
the
how they
orig-
have that ship cockpit where they like the mask closes down. That's like one of the first things you see in Alien.
yeah.
That's what I thought was so incredible about Aliens, because it's like they set this up way like 20, 30
okay,
years ago.
yeah, okay, but this is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like in the closed cockpit ship.
He looks like an elephant.
Well, he's been dead for a long time.
Well, yeah, I know, but like they changed the.
But
look
the elephant
from-
piece is the
Yes,
breathing
yes.
mask.
Right, that's
that
what
they
we
Agreed,
see.
but we
Yeah.
get that explanation from Prometheus. So if Prometheus had set up its own engineer, even if the engineers were the alien it was fighting, I think it would have been a far better dual movie, like dual set of movies, than trying to tie it into the Aliens movies. Because I think everyone was expecting that Aliens type scenario that it never delivered on. Like you,
Yeah, I mean, they're really scary.
yeah,
That's why I
they're,
love 'em.
I Prometheus is my until Romulus was my favorite of the series. I really enjoyed Fassbender. He's a great actor. I think the story is really, really well told. You get a lot of practical, and you get these beautiful sceneries wherever the hell they are. And you get a lot of information for someone who's never seen. And like I watched Prometheus, was the first one out of the series I saw.
Oh, really?
I was like, I'm more interested in watching Alien and Aliens, and that's when I watched them for the first time. Whereas Covenant just went off into a side tangent, and I can't make the leap of how we get from Covenant to Alien.
Yeah.
And now we know that it doesn't even matter because Romulus, is after they only reference those two movies in one line or like two lines. Like they're just throwaways. Like because they're like, they exist, but they don't exist. Because what has Michael Fassbender been doing for the last 40, 50 years?
We don't know. He could come back.
But okay, cool. I'm cool with that. But how? Like what he's been engineering. He's been the engineer of the new alien species. Like he created it, the Deacon, I think is what they call it. The thing that in Covenant was just wreaking havoc on everyone. Mm-hmm. And so like, where are they going to go? Is the
Earth.
Alien going to? Is it going to be Alien versus Covenant? And so like it becomes a three-sided war, which I would be down for.
I like them keeping it more grounded, in my opinion.
Yes.
What I dislike is when they try and go so grand.
And that's where I think Prometheus and Covenant went.
Right.
And where I think if it had been its own series, it would, instead of trying to tie it into something was so pivotal to horror and sci-fi movies, I think that is, I think that's the downfall of those two movies, why people really didn't like them. So
I really did enjoy Prometheus. Covenant, I feel like Covenant is a walking plot hole.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with it.
And it's not just like from a plot scene, but it's also like this character, like just from the start, like let's go on this planet without masks. Like let's just breathe from here. Like there's just so many things like that. That's like humans wouldn't make this decision.
Well, if they can test the air and know that it's breathable.
Sure.
But from a
never been here before. No one's ever been here before.
From a xenobiologist standpoint, I agree.
Sure.
Like we have no idea what like might rub off on the grass.
Sure.
Like
exactly.
From the science standpoint, I agree. So let's talk about some numbers real quick before we move into the more questions. What do you think is the top grossing film out of the entire series? And this is I pulled these numbers 2 days ago.
Aliens is my guess.
Aliens. So the second one?
2, yeah. James Cameron.
I want to say that too, but I'm not going to say it.
You can.
Let's go. What's the new? We just watched the new one. What's the new one?
Romulus?
Let's go Romulus.
Romulus?
Yeah.
Okay. So Prometheus is the top grossing.
Oh, I was going to say.
However, its lifetime total was 126 million. Romulus is already at 105.
Okay.
So
it's on track to beat it.
Oh yeah, it's going to smash it. Aliens was third with 85, and AVP was 80, and then Alien was 78. So I think these numbers are just all box office numbers, by the way. We're not counting like home sales. And honestly, like that whole game changes because of streaming. So like it becomes like
it would be so skewed for older movies.
Yeah, and also just in general, like I
think that is fun to still think about because like inflation, movie tickets are way more expensive now.
I was thinking more about like tickets sold would be a better count.
Agreed.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Because if you could do tickets sold versus number of times it's been streamed, and that can count for one. Like
there's no way theaters kept track of those numbers.
Well, I mean, they could do the math.
Maybe.
Like I mean, hey, some data scientist that happens to listen to this, can you do the math and give us like an average price per ticket? Mm-hmm. Like if you can just give me that for
that'd be cool.
When it came out, I'll do the rest of the math. Because like it even gives us like max theaters. Like Prometheus was in 3,400, Romulus is 3,900. Mm-hmm. Alien was only in 757 theaters, and it made 78 million in its lifetime. And these are adjusted for inflation.
I'll say Romulus doing so well to me. I don't know if you all will agree. This is really impressive given kind of the theater landscape we're in right now. One, I feel like Covenant kind of dipped general reception to Aliens, like general hype. And I feel like it's just movies right now are very hit or miss as far as how they do in the box office. So it impresses me.
I think what we're seeing now is practical effects are becoming more important again. I also think people caring about source material matters. Dude, I'm going to butcher this dude's name. Let me find him. Fede Alvarez. He apparently did a lot of research looking at the original scripts. He played the games.
That's impressive.
To understand where the story was going. And I should mention this. I was buying scotch yesterday or the other day, and the person selling me the scotch is the one who told me and pointed out the article telling me about all the research he did. He has 1,000 hours on Aliens Isolation or something like that.
Whoa.
He has put so much time just trying to understand that feeling, and I think that's what we're seeing is just this source material matters. I mean, like look at like the way Witcher and Halo were received from people who have never read source material or never, like have a general concept of what's going on, and the reception it gets from individuals. Whereas like look at Alien 3 and Resurrection, like they were not well received. I mean, Alien 3, its ratings are 44 and 46 on Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. And then Resurrection was 55 and 39. So that's so the first number's critics and the second number's audience.
Right?
And then AVP is 12 and 30, or AVP Rec Room was 12 and 30.
12?
Yeah, for critics. AVP was 22. Like they're people don't really like those movies, and they're not considered canon by like most of the individuals. So on that, we have Prometheus is 73.68. Y'all agree with that one? Actually, let me run through them. I have another question for you. Prometheus is, I'm just going to do audience ratings. Prometheus was a 68. Romulus is an 85. Aliens is a 94. Mm-hmm. Alien is a 94. Covenant is a 55. Yeah. And then the other two, 46 and 39.
I would agree with all of those.
So you think they're all pretty accurate?
Pretty accurate, yeah. I think I hold Aliens as like masterpiece level. Prometheus, Covenant, I think they're better as far as like all those movies, but I don't think they're great. I think Prometheus is significantly better than Covenant, and then I think Romulus is top 3.
I would put Romulus personally over Alien, and I know someone's gonna tear me up in the comments, and that's fine. You can just do it after you like, and rate us on Spotify and YouTube or whatever. There's my one little pitch. And here's why. Having rewatched them earlier, like in the last 3 weeks, I've watched all 6 or 7 of these movies, however many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've watched all 7 of these in the last 2-3 weeks. Alien is so boring. I do not know.
Disagree more.
There's too much silence for a movie that is not in a pressurized environment. There's nothing. There's no so ambient noise to keep you involved. It goes from high action to no noise. And granted, that was just what they did in the 70s. I get that. But I don't think that has aged well. I
think it ages perfectly. So suspenseful.
But no, it doesn't. There's nothing to keep your, like, it's exhausting because you have high adrenaline and then nothing. High adrenaline and then nothing. It's like being, okay, I know the answer to this question. Have you ever been in a fight, Sam?
No.
Carter?
Yeah.
So when you're in a fight, your adrenaline's pumping. As soon as it's over, you're exhausted. And then if you have to, like, the next round, your adrenaline pumps up again and you're beat up. And that's how I feel with Alien. It's just like it goes from high octane to no noise. And
if I were to tell you that's intentional?
I know it's probably intentional, but I don't.
Literally.
I think Romulus does a better job at that with the little bit of ambient noise in the background that gives the environmental storytelling of dripping and, just the pressurized air making noise, the air of movement, or even just that small musical score just running through the background that just gives you that, a theremin is. It was used in all the whole old school horror movies. It's a musical instrument where, based off where you put your hand, you can make almost like someone taking like a pick.
If you heard it, you'd recognize it.
Yeah.
It's what they use in a lot of old horror movies to give creepy sound and noise. Even something like that, just riding that background keeps you riding the adrenaline rather than it just being adrenaline nothing. And I don't think it has aged well. I think for the time it's a 94. I would give Alien now an 85, and I would give Romulus the 94. Like, Romulus is a solid movie.
Yeah,
I think it's good. I think the script is so well done. I think Rain is the better heroine than Ripley in the first movie.
No.
I think Ripley in Aliens And this is going to be one of my questions. And here's why. In Alien, she is just lucky. There's no intention in her decision making.
So not true.
No,
absolutely not true.
She is
from the rip when they try and let all the people back into the ship. She's the only one that's firm saying no.
Yeah, but
she's the only one sticking to protocol.
But then she ignores protocol and continues to ignore protocol.
How?
She gets overridden. We can go back to Prometheus of what she should have done. She should have burnt the shit out of them and lit them on fire with their flamethrower.
He's human.
So what? We saw what's her name? Not Katherine Heigl. What is her name? Charlize Theron do it. It doesn't matter. You have to. That's the whole point of her job, was to protect the entire crew. She did what the android did that Brian or whatever his name is in Romulus got mad at. That's what she should have done.
What do you mean?
So he was infected. Instead of letting him come onto the ship, she should have killed him to not infect the rest of the ship.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely
That is protocol.
And she did what she was supposed to, not let him in. She got overridden by everybody, including Ash.
But it doesn't matter.
She's not going to kill
That's her job.
Her crewmate when she has no idea what's wrong with him.
That's what Charlize Theron did, and it saved the rest of the crew.
That's such a silly...
No,
that's unrealistic, in my opinion.
That is not unrealistic.
Completely unrealistic. That's like saying, Carter, we're on a job together. He leaves. I'm saying, hey, you can't join the ship because I don't know what's been up with you. Instead, I'm going to shoot him in the head.
But that's why quarantine
and also shooting him in the head... we just saw with Romulus, like that facehugger was on there for a second, for like literally 30 seconds, and then the chest burster came out.
But look at
Kale Carter, the chest burster comes out.
But look at how the chest burster came out at that point versus in Alien. It took effort.
Alien, it just ran away. It was still super vulnerable.
But look how hard it had to struggle. Like look at the chest breaking.
Super small, yeah.
Yeah, it was completely different. I'm not saying I'm not saying she should have killed him. She should have.
You just said that.
That's what I would have done because you're on an alien planet and you have no idea.
She did what was protocol and not let him on the ship, and then she got overridden by everybody, and then she literally got beat up for it.
Yeah, but then the rest of the time is her just flying by the seat of her pants. Whereas in the second movie, in Aliens,
she's literally the greatest predator of all time.
Hear me out. In Aliens, she has intention. She is
because she's hardened. She literally has gone against the most traumatic event.
But it's been 50 years. And
not for her. It's been 2 days.
I understand that, but what I'm saying though is that
and she was already hardened at the end of Alien. That's what makes her progression perfect.
But that's why I think in Aliens she's the better heroine. I think if you're comparing new heroines,
she's a different person in Aliens. She went from a human who
she's still human.
Right, but she is a stone cold killer in Aliens because she's been through the most traumatic event, and she knows what when you let the human aspect of you make decisions. Alien is what happens. No. Aliens is like she's not letting, except for the little girl, which is a great plot piece because it kind of softens her.
But that's what I'm saying. I think in Aliens she's the better heroine.
But she's a different person in Aliens.
But I think Rain, as compared to Ripley 1.0. I think Rain is the better one because she is not flying by the seat of her pants. There's intention and decision making.
If it was Rain's decision, they would have let the girl back in, and the xenomorph would have killed them all.
But
the only reason she survives is because of Andy.
But that's my point. Is
luck. Seat of her pants.
That's not luck. That's where my mindset is. The only reason Rain's alive is because of Andy.
100%.
It's nothing.
She would have been dead off the rip.
Right. Ripley for me she's the OG.
Ripley's perfect.
No, 100% not. Having just rewatched it. I
just rewatched it too
1,000 times where she just luck gets in the way constantly.
That happens to all people.
Yeah, but
I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen with Rain, and it only affected Ripley.
I think Rain's the better heroine.
I think that's fair to say.
1v1 like version 1.0. I think Ripley as a whole character is the better heroine.
Okay.
But I think Alien versus Romulus, Rain is the better heroine. I think there's intelligence and decision making rather than like.
Oh gosh,
I just
disagree more. Rain is a random person who has no like.
Ripley was a random person that had
Ripley's a part of a crew who had regulations, background, and she followed what she needed to.
And she didn't follow them.
Yeah,
she let him go.
She literally did not let him on the ship. She got overridden by everybody and Ash.
But she did not follow protocol. See, those protocols exist. Quarantine protocols exist to override captain's decisions for that emotional beat. That is exactly why quarantine exists. That's why the word quarantine.
She did exactly what she needed to. Ash overrid her. How can you disagree with that? She did what she needed to. She said, you're not allowed in. Everybody told her no. She said no, and Ash, being a droid, overrid her and opened the door.
Okay, so
what's she going to do, kill Ash in a split-second decision?
Oh, no, of course not. And Ash is an android, so who knows?
Right.
But he also got thrown on like 2 days before the flight.
Ash is such a good villain.
Yeah, he's such a good villain. So going back to just, oh man, where I had a thought. So okay, well
you were comparing the Rotten Tomatoes, and you said Romulus should be is the better one. And I said I agree with all of them. Yeah. In general, you were just going down the thought. So I got to. So now everybody who's listening, who is like, Garrett's crazy, I hear you. Voice of Reason's coming in. Why Alien is not overrated.
I'm not saying it's overrated. I'm saying
you said it doesn't age well.
I said it.
And today you could rewatch it, never having seen it before, and think it's an incredible movie.
Agreed. It's incredible. I'm not.
And it deserves its rating.
I don't think it deserves a 94.
How is 90 and above not incredible? First of all, we don't have to go down that tangent.
Yeah. Okay. Which, by the way, I did get that from one of our listeners. Did say that we should start rating what we're talking about.
Oh, what we say is like incredible. So I'd say 9 and above is incredible, and 10 I'd say is masterpiece.
But see, but the problem is like, can anything be a 10?
Have
Like,
you guys seen Dave Portnoy pizza review?
Yeah. I don't know his rating system.
I mean, 9 or 10 is like, you are one of the best.
Yeah,
like,
he is firmer than I am, I will say, but I respect his.
I do too. Yep.
I have no idea who they're talking about, so I'll put a link in the description when I get that from them.
You never seen Barstool One Bite Pizza reviews? He's like, one bite, everybody knows the rule. Takes one bite of a slice of pizza.
Oh no, dude, y'all, I'm not like. I watch sports to be communal.
Well, I don't think it's very sports related.
Well, I know, but Barstool Sports, I'm not gonna watch it by default.
Okay.
I know who you're talking about because of, like you said, Barstool Sports. I understand who that guy is. I've seen some clips, but I've never watched like
him.
Yeah,
fair.
Him. Like I'm not like I couldn't tell you anything about him other than he wears like tank tops while on ESPN now. So like that's about all I got.
That's Pat McAfee, but
I was gonna say,
he was on
reference.
Barstool.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like that's my correlation with Barstool Sports. Okay.
Heck of a punter, Pat.
Out of all the movies, what was the scariest scene?
So, I don't know if I was ever super scared, but the scene that sticks with me the most and makes me go back and just kind of gives me the itch or like the icks is in Prometheus when she had to cut.
Oh, the C-section?
Yeah. Yes.
That is, I think if I'm thinking of scenes that made my hands sweat the most, that's top 3.
Yeah. Also, we got a new alien out of that we never saw again, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
We did. The little like
big squid thing.
Kraken squid thing. Yeah. It ate the engineer. Like I was like, all right, that's a solid one.
Good
pick.
Like,
that or the birth. Like that birth is just.
Birth is rough.
Yeah. Like it's not scary. It just sticks with you. I think
the birth just happens so quick. It's one of those, you see oh no, hey, the baby's formed. Okay, we know what's coming. And then it's over in about, 45 seconds. The C-section, I felt like we get, hell, she's pregnant. Oh no, something just happened. He gave her the thing. And so you get a little bit more screen time to have the thought develop.
Yeah, birth came out of nowhere, I felt like.
Yeah. I was trying to think. I was like, there was another scene that just kind of rides the edge of your mind and then just shows up, and I just can't think of what it is. It might be in Prometheus again. So I think in Alien, obviously, like I know the chest burster scene's coming, so like it doesn't scare me. Like, and I
chest burster wrecked me.
I will never like I've known about that scene even before Prometheus came out. So I don't think that scene will ever scare me. Okay. Other than the high explosive sound that comes with it, like it'll make you jump just by like natural reflex, but like it doesn't scare me. I think the creepy one for like me that just makes my skin crawl is the sticky hive in both Romulus and creepy. Aliens, where they've got the humans up on the wall and like some of them are dead or not. Like that to me, I'm like, ha 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 ha, Like
Miserable.
It's like a wasp nest, like
Yeah.
when you see a really big one, you're like, oh no, I'm good. Or
There's
or
something-
spider nest,
Genetic about how our brains work that just
Yeah.
gets a nerve, strikes a nerve. Yeah, I would say for me, so I was fortunate enough for when I saw Alien when I was a kid, I think middle school, maybe elementary school. I knew nothing about face huggers or chest
What were you
bursters.
doing watching this in elementary
No
school?
clue. Well, it was one of
on
those movies that
FX.
would come on.
Oh,
It'll
okay,
come on
okay,
FX.
okay,
It would
okay,
come
okay,
on
okay.
like those old school channels, and I would just everybody knows about Alien, so I happened to watch it, not knowing what I was getting myself into. I'll still say to this day, I don't think two things. I can't think of a worse way to die than a face hugger. That's just me.
Yeah.
Growing up, seeing this, the torture. I mean, we could definitely have that discussion. There's worse ways to die, but just the impact mentally that it had on me, that scene. Like I had nightmares. I never looked at a spider the same way because they somewhat reflect each other, and there's no way you're out of it. Like once it gets on your face, now we know the cryo workaround. But at that point,
I don't think that's even a workaround. Like you'd have to be.
she still died. Yeah, you'd have to be instant.
you had to be very
Yeah.
quick with it.
Yeah.
Right?
So for me, the chest burster scene in Alien absolutely wrecked me because you see this happen and something doesn't sit right with you, but you're like, he's probably just gonna die.
Yeah.
He's probably just gonna die eventually. They're all and it happens so quickly after he first wakes up. Usually, it feels like a scene like that they would spend more time to build up, but they go right into eating with each other in the mess hall. They're all having a good time. Like you kind of let your guard down a little bit. Me as a kid, I let my guard down, and then he pauses up and you're like, okay, here's where he dies. Like he's just gonna die here.
Have a heart attack and die.
And have a heart attack. And then this alien explodes out of his chest, blood everywhere, and you see this freak thing run away off screen. And I'm gonna remember that coming later. The chest burster wrecked me. But I would just say, and we can talk more about this, but my actual answer to this would be the cat scene where the mechanic in Alien is looking for the cat that's missing.
Oh yeah.
When the xenomorph is already on the loose, and they've been building that up for like minutes, it feels like, and you kind of start to let your guard on because you keep seeing the cat and nothing bad happens. So you're like, the cat's probably going to live. Well, the cat lives. Spoiler. But the mechanic does not.
Spoiler through a 35-year-old movie.
Yeah. But that's probably where the mechanic dies from the cat. That scared me the most as a kid.
Going to talking about the face huggers and what we learned in Romulus. One of the things that, like, it's not a spoiler, but that I think is super cool in Romulus is that you can see the face hugger breathing, and we can hear that from Rook talking like, oh, it's feeding it, or Andy feeding it oxygen and pace with the
Keeping
lungs.
him
I was
alive.
like, wow,
That
like
was
we
cool.
like we I never thought about that on any of the
I
previous
thought it was
movies.
pumping the thing into him.
Yeah,
But what's crazy...
but you don't see the movement.
No,
but,
you don't.
But you do in Romulus. You see the.
Yes.
Like,
and
I
that's
was like,
more like...
again, talking about world building and just giving
Yes.
up more of the alien. Like that's why I think
Yes.
Romulus is so much better than an 85.
But the thing is like, we didn't see the inflation and like the inhale and exhale of it, but they thought of that.
Yeah, I
when
know
the
they
design.
did. I know they did. But
all
like,
of this
but
design
it was
is
never
just-
mentioned. It's never mentioned.
Yeah, right. It's never mentioned.
so, like,
but it's it's a lean hour,
Yeah,
37-minute movie or whatever it is. They drop so many nuggets on it.
Romulus is almost the shortest
Yep.
What is the shortest?
alien.
Yeah.
At an hour and 50.
Yeah, it was
minutes.
almost 2 minutes or 2 hours.
Yeah, and
But that's
Romulus
just-
is an hour and 54, and then everything after that's
Super
over 2
lean.
hours. Yeah.
Super lean. But that's what I just think is such a masterpiece about aliens. We have all these movies now where we've had time to explain more things, but it's like first time we see the face hugger, we'll just cut off the tail. Not if it has acid for blood, that'll prevent that. And we'll cut off its fingers. Not if it has a defense mechanism that will choke the person out if they don't.
Yeah, they did some great, like, just building
Design in that. Did y'all see the in the build up, like the press release for Romulus, they did like a practical effect YouTube video where they talked about like the chest burster and the face huggers.
Nope, I will go find that.
I totally recommend anybody watching this and you guys as well, but they show the face huggers. There's two practical effect face huggers. There's probably more, but two general types. There's the ones that move, and there's the ones that are like built with the RC cars that I told y'all about. That's actual practical effects, and they have the legs moving on like the RC car. And then there's the face huggers where the lung type shape, they make it like a balloon type material, and actually on the bottom of the face hugger is a mouthpiece. So the actors, they put it on
blowing it in.
and they're
That's
breathing,
cool.
and since it's a balloon like material, it inhales and exhales. And they just did. I have to give them their props for the practical effects on Romulus. It was so well done.
Yeah, I think that's why this movie is done so well. It's practical.
So well done.
So, what scene do you think is the most important in the entire series?
Oh God.
I'm not like I wrote this question. I don't even know if I can answer this. Like before watching Romulus, I think I could have, mainly because of how bad 3 and Resurrection were.
Oh, okay.
And Prometheus and Covenant, I think, belong in their own separate universe. Like I kind of write them off because like I still don't understand how we went from that to Alien. Like I can't make that leap without, because like there's information's been passed back. We know,
I don't even think about it as like them being connected.
yeah, but like so that's what I'm saying. If they were by themselves, that'd be fine. So that means we're in Alien, Aliens, and Romulus. And I think honestly, the chest burster scene is probably the most important thing because it sets the stage for how effective these things are.
Yes.
How quick they can attack, and also just what it did outside the movie world itself. Like, hey, we have true horror here.
Yes, in sci-fi.
Yeah.
Space Odyssey. Yeah, I think I would agree with you because it says so much about the xenomorph. Like one, it bleeds into when the xenomorph is hunting humans, why would they not just kill them? Why would they try and keep them alive? Well, they're so pack oriented. They want to expand. They want to grow.
Again, Romulus does a great job of explaining that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
Just such a good scene. It's like it shook people masses to the core. Like middle school Sam never was the same after it.
All right. You earlier before we started, you said you had questions about Romulus. What are they?
Well, so the question
or questions about the series.
It was just, why did the new alien we saw look like an engineer?
Yeah.
Why did it have this similar face, similar
eyes?
Yeah.
So we know that the black goo, which again, that's like the black goo. They even showed the container from Prometheus and Covenant. I'm like, how did y'all find this? Where did y'all find this? Like, it does that to me is why I'm like, I don't understand.
Black goo's in the serum. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because that's where they developed the serum from. So that we know that black goo from Prometheus, when the engineer drinks it in the very beginning, it destroys DNA and rebuilds DNA to its own demise. And so what I think the serum was is because it's been manipulated from the black goo, is that what it's doing is it's modifying the DNA because the baby was like the easiest thing to manipulate where all the nutrients are going by default. It modified its DNA. And the DNA of how to protect it, because that's what we know the alien wants to do, is protect itself. And we know it can create a cocoon. That's how they found the alien in the beginning of Romulus. And so, hey, spoilers, my bad.
I know. I was thinking this. We've definitely been dropping like little spoilers here and
it's
there.
fine.
I dropped the cryo one.
Yeah. So I think that's it modified mom's DNA to change the womb from a human womb to the egg. And so it's just a modification of DNA.
Yeah. And I mean, that's where I was just watching it going, this looks just like, and that's where I was just getting thrown for a loop. But
I think the baby I thought was more engineer-like. And so I was like, oh, that's where they're going with this. That's cool. I can get behind this. And then it turned into that.
That's where I went for
and so
20 seconds. And then it was, okay, no, that's
and
not
then this is a little chicken that skipped leg day. Like, I was just so weird.
With blades for elbows.
Yeah. What other questions you got?
That was it. That was the main one. Yeah.
So of the 4 directors, we'll say 3 directors. I know 4. I was right the first time. Ridley Scott, James Cameron, David Fincher, and Fede Alvarez.
Which one did Fincher do? Prometheus? No, I thought Ridley Scott was Prometheus actually.
Yeah,
he might be 3 in Resurrection.
Wow, talk about a turn of a career for Fincher.
Oh, he should never have been
because he's an incredible director. I would say
if he's done nothing.
Really? He did. I'm pretty sure he did Gone Girl, and he did Zodiac.
Okay. So what he did, Alien 3. Sorry, I was talking about Resurrection.
Okay.
The director from Resurrection is the one I left off.
Okay.
He should never have been the director. All of his films are like indie French films.
Oh,
Like,
really?
He should never have been the director. So yeah, Alien 3. So David Fincher did Alien 3. Sorry, I should.
I need to rewatch Alien 3. I need to give it a chance.
I need to
like
take
David Fincher a
better
lot.
notes apparently. So out of those 4, who do you think is the one? Which of those 4 do you think is going to is the better director of the films? Like, we're not talking about writing, we're talking about directing. So like it's like it changes the game a little bit. Not much, but it's enough of a semantic that I'm curious what y'all think.
I don't know if I'll say better. I'll at least say my personal favorite. I actually really like James Cameron's directing style.
He did Aliens.
Aliens, yeah. And I talked to I posed this question to y'all like a while ago, and Garrett, I'm curious now of your thoughts now that you've seen it more recently. But I think it's so cool, something that doesn't get talked enough about Aliens, where you have a movie that does so well, a certain type of movie, then the sequel is a very different type of movie and still does so well commercially and from like a review standpoint. And Aliens, I feel like, is such an anomaly in that aspect where there are definitely some horror aspects, but it is very much an action film.
Oh yeah.
Very much an action film, like totally different directing style. Not a lot, like you don't feel like you're in a horror house. There's not a ton of. There are some tight spaces where you feel claustrophobic, but it's not
some jump scenes, some
jump
dark
scenes. Yeah, but it is very much like you feel like it is an action scene.
It feels almost more like what's that movie with Bruce Willis? Fifth Element.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of see that. But I just really liked James Cameron. Like he didn't. Because it's not really his style to do horror, but he still kind of wanted to stay true to the series by keeping things claustrophobic, having some scary scenes, keeping the xenomorph scary and very much like an apex predator, while also doing his style of, hey, this is an action film. This is what I do. So that would be my answer.
You said you were going to ask a question, so I assume your question is, why do you think it worked out so well?
That was my question. Well, that and as well as like, is there any other movie where we've seen that where the sequel's like, hey, I'm doing something very different and it's going to do just as well?
I would ask, is there any other sequel that has been different from the original formula other than this movie? Because I like, while you were asking, I was like, is there any other?
Joker 2.
Okay,
fair.
I haven't watched Joker 2.
You need to know Joker 2 is a musical.
It's a musical.
Joker 1 is not.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, but that's like saying Mean Girl.
But Joker 2 did not do
It
well.
did not do well. I'm not using that
but I
to
think,
be clear.
again, I think part of that is setting expectations of your audience and keeping true to source material. They went awry. What is her name? Not Lady Gaga, the character she plays.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, thank you. Harley Quinn's a patient, not a doctor. Like, there are set lore in Batman that you cannot mess with.
Mm-hmm.
And they messed with it because they did not pay attention to source material. And so, like, they also didn't tell people it was a musical ahead of time. They, like, and is it a true musical or is it like there's musical
I haven't
beats?
seen it and I won't.
From what I've heard, it is a true musical.
Because a true musical means that there's no talking. It is all like Phantom of the Opera
then
is
it is
a
not
true
a true
musical. Okay.
But if there's more
it's,
than 3 songs in it,
Is that really the definition?
I calculate it as a
Like
so would Greatest Showman not be musical?
uh
Or Willy Wonka wouldn't it be a musical?
Hairspray.
Yeah, Hairspray not be musical?
I've never seen Hairspray, but the Broadway definition of musical versus that is that like
The Newsies?
like a certain percentage of the of it is musical.
Okay.
And it is a very high percentage. Like look at Phantom of the Opera, which is the kind of the defining measure. It is. I think there's something like 200 words total that are not sung.
Okay.
Like Les
And
Mis.
and they're not even in the original play. They're only in the movie. So, anyways,
I think there are a good amount. I mean, I can't think
don't-
of any besides that on the spot.
I can't, because if we can look at the Batmans since we're talking about Joker and Joker 2. The Batman was its own thing.
Yeah.
So when the next one comes out, what are they going to do? They're going to repeat the formula because it did well. Look at, the Batman Begins series. Christopher Nolan did a great job. And, but it's the same formula. All the Marvel movies, same formula. Like no one's deviating because they're making money they don't want to. And I think that's the benefit of the 70s and 80s is that, hey, this is all an experiment to get away from that, classic, Black Dahlia type movie scene, like classic Hollywood scene. And so everything's an experiment. And so I think the only way you can ever really look at this is to look at TV shows, because TV shows have different directors, like big ones have different directors per episode. So not like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, but look at like Mandalorian. The episodes that do really well are from directors that paid attention to source material, and the ones that don't do well are people that just went off and did their own thing. And so I think, I think that goes back to, having a plan from the beginning and keeping to said plan. And I think that's where, they kept the same writers between Alien and Aliens, which means that you can keep the same beats. And so you can change how it's viewed, and that's the director's job, but you get the same beats. And, your rewrites don't change the story. They just change how it's presented. Mm-hmm. So I learned yesterday that apparently Ridley Scott hates the Queen. Really? That is the thing that he's the most upset about, and that's why he was like when he did Prometheus and Covenant, there's no mention of the Queen. They didn't talk about it in the newest one. He hates the Queen. I
wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just seems like a logical
for a hive mind.
You
need a queen.
You got to protect something.
Well, you also need something to control it. So,
yes, exactly.
But yeah, I think Ridley Scott, because Prometheus is probably like, until I watched Romulus, Prometheus was probably my favorite. I think
hard to top Ridley.
Yeah, like, and also like Charlize Theron, just so like she is so good. Michael Fassbender, and I think that's because like, and granted, Sigourney Weaver's a great actress, but there's no one else in that entire movie that other than Ash that I recognize that I could be like, oh yeah, you were in Alien. Ash, only because he's such a great villain, and Sigourney Weaver is Sigourney Weaver, but no one else. Like I don't know anyone else in that movie.
No, same for Aliens.
Yeah, exactly. The only person I can tell you is in Aliens is the guy who plays the Terminator's dad, or
Terminator 1, his dad, or John.
John's dad.
He's the last.
He's the one that if
guy.
If Sigourney Weaver were to have a love interest, it would have been him.
Yeah.
Which to me, I was like, oh, so you just basically remade Terminator with a different storyline. And so that's where I was like, okay, cool, fine, that's where we're going with this. And but like I think Ridley Scott he's probably one of my favorite directors of all time. I mean, look at Gladiator and just Prometheus and Alien. Probably one of my favorite directors of all time. I think he is by far the better director. James Cameron's a great director, but he makes such weird movies.
Yeah, I mean he's not even close to one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, like,
there's just something I think
they're entertaining.
He's really special about Aliens.
Yeah,
for me.
Like his movies are entertaining. They're just not great. And they're not something that I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to see the next James Cameron film.
I would never say that either.
Mainly because I know it's going to be Avatar.
Yeah.
Which he did say he's putting a pause to go do some other projects.
I did see that.
So let's tie this in, or tie this up, I should say.
Wait.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, Garrett.
So
I was going to say mine's
we
similar
went
to
on a
yours.
really long time.
I'm a big Ridley Scott fan. Loved Prometheus. I actually saw Prometheus when it was coming out. Watched it with some buddies. We had no idea it was an alien movie.
Really?
Halfway through it, and then it's like, wait, this is cool.
That must have been a fun realization.
Exactly. And so I got hooked immediately because I was like, this is kind of a cool set. It was one of the few movies I went to the theaters to see. Never saw a preview for it. No background. Let's just go.
Such a good way to do it.
Yeah. I didn't realize Covenant was hated so bad. I'm a big Danny McBride fan, but besides that,
who is that?
He's the
captain
pilot.
or the pilot.
Idris Elba is in Prometheus too. I forgot. Like,
yep.
There's a great cast in Prometheus.
Both of them are.
But surprisingly, Elizabeth Shaw is like a nobody.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Main character. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't understand that one. But she
That
does
may
a
have
great.
been how they got
She
some-
does
She did a great job.
She's a great actress.
Yeah.
Like,
But that also could have been how they got some of the other big names in
True.
it. Was, hey, go get somebody to play the main character. We can
Yeah.
pay to bring on who we want. But yeah, I'm Prometheus and then Romulus are mine.
Yeah.
And so love Ridley. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move into final thoughts. So we've hinted around just this idea of the series' influence on sci-fi and stuff like that. But I want to do something which is honestly, we might get beat up for this one. The series focuses on female leads, like it always has. And when it first came out, people were really upset that it was a female-led movie. We have the whole incel thing going on now, where people are like, look at Star Wars and Daisy Ridley. They trash her. Why we don't need a female?
Why is Aloy ugly? From
Aloy?
Horizon.
Yeah.
Horizon.
Or people are always so, or people are mad about Ghost of Yahweh.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, so do you think movies have continued to try and make this focus? Let me put it back up a little bit. I think what this movie did well was that while Ripley, thank you.
It's so close. It's hard to not mix up.
While Ripley is a woman, they never called out and like, oh, you're just a woman. Like they never. She's just
Girl power.
Yeah, exactly. No girl power. But
No,
they also
no Ocean's 8.
But no one trashes her for being a female either. She's part of the ship, part of the crew.
The only time they kind of do is in Aliens, where they're like calling herself. But even the girl soldier is like.
But I can tell you that is very accurate for military in general.
Yeah.
Super.
Oh, I believe it.
More.
Some scientists coming in giving them orders.
No. I was just gonna say like more masculine females in the military very much will trash other females. Yeah. Like will just destroy them. They are like, I do not understand like this whole idea of trashing women just for being women or men for being like, holy crap. But like, it is bad.
Yeah.
You think it's bad in that movie? No, that was so tame to what I've seen in my own mind.
Really?
So I think you kind of hit on what my thoughts are is that I think what also Romulus did that Aliens did so well is that these are just people. It's not because they're women. Them being women does not make them better or worse in any way. They're just people, and I think that's why it did so well.
Yeah, I mean, the best comment I can give it is I never think about Ripley's a girl. Ripley's not a guy. I just think Ripley's a badass. Rain's a badass.
And Shaw, even she does.
Even Shaw's a badass. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the only reference to her like truly being a female is that she gets pregnant.
Yeah.
And she has to take the squid thing out of her.
Yeah.
And so like I think that, and she like that some people would call a disability turned into a strength that she was able to, make decisions, because everybody's like, we can't have a female president. Like, this is not a political conversation, but like, that's the argument about,
the incel args.
Yeah. And so like, I think that is what, if we had directors, even directors, crap, I'm trying to remember her name. The director from Barbie.
Greta something.
Yeah, Greta Thunberg. No, that's the Swedish chick.
Yeah.
But yeah, Greta.
I know you're talking about.
But Greta, like Barbie's a great movie.
Yeah.
But Charlie's Angels, one of her original ones, was horrendous because it tried to take, like Charlie's Angels should never have been remade. Like,
I've never seen it.
Did she do the remake one?
Yeah, she did the remake with Kristen Stewart.
Which I never even saw that one.
And it's an okay movie, but it's very much girl power.
Yeah.
And like, it should never have been remade. Like Charlie's Angels was a terrible show to begin with. Even the remake of the remake, because it's the remake of the remake because like Drew Barrymore was in the remake and that one was
Cameron
terrible
Diaz.
too. And so like that was very much demeaning of women. And so like you don't need to remake crap. And that's what I think that's this idea of like, not Idris Elba, Daniel Craig talking about like the argument after the last Bond since he's no longer Bond. Then be like, oh yeah, we need a female James Bond. He goes, no, you don't. James Bond you don't need to make it Jamie Bond. And that way it's, ambiguous of whether or not they're male or female. Just make a new 007. Let them have their own story. And I think that's really the argument. Like, we don't need to replace these characters, like, whether they're good or bad. And I think that's what these movies have done so well, is that we're not replacing anyone. They're new characters. They are their own people. They are their own. They're just in the world, and they make decisions based off of that. And so,
Well-made characters.
Yeah.
They're just well-made characters.
So talking about Ripley, if you had to remake Alien today, like it's never been made before, who would you choose to be Ripley? You've got this perfect script.
I would say, and I just think she's an incredible actress. I would say Florence Pugh.
Ooh, good call.
I feel like she has such good range.
Yep.
And I
is a
think she
great
would do a
call.
good job in it.
I wrote this question, and I've been thinking about this for 3 weeks. I've never been able to come up with an answer because, like, we got De Ames. What's her name? De Ames.
Anna de Armas.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, but she's too hot.
I see.
She's
but
too attractive.
I'm reserving judgment because she's in Ballerina, which is a John Wick spinoff that looks so good because the original John Wick directors are back and they helped redo things. I have to hold judgment until that because all the other portions she's always been this. She was in Glass Onion or not Glass Onion, Knives Out.
Knives Out. Yeah.
And like that's the only thing I really know her from. And I'm like, I cannot see her.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, she was in Blade Runner.
I haven't seen 2049 in so long that it's on my to watch list. Like
she was in War Dogs. There's a new Netflix movie with Chris Evans.
I mean, she was.
Which she apparently the reason she got the Netflix movie with Chris Evans was because she was doing training for the John Wick one, and
cool.
And they realized, oh hey, she can actually do action stuff.
I see, but that's again, I haven't seen it. So like my reference for her is only
It's not in fitting for this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Florence Pugh, like her work on Dune,
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. I never saw Midsummer. Scarlett Johansson film. It was
Black Widow.
Black Widow,
yeah. I thought she and like that and Hawkeye. She does great action scenes. So like I think Florence Pugh is probably
That's a great answer, Sam.
yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Like I have no objection to that whatsoever. And I like in my mind I'm like going back and I'm like, oh, Keira Knightley fits the right build, but I don't like her as an actress in the action oriented. She's too drama. So I don't think she fits.
Yeah.
And again, and I'm typecasting it based off what I've seen her in. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is the most actiony thing, and that was very choreographed. It just doesn't fit. And so I'm like, oh, what about Natalie Portman? No, again, not the right type of actor. And I'm like, or actress. And I'm just like, you know what? I really don't know. And so I think Florence Pugh is probably the best choice. Oh, actually, I do have a contender, Olivia Wilde.
You're picking older girls.
That's
Florence
exactly
Pugh
what I was
is
gonna
the
say.
same age.
Really?
I think.
There's
And
absolutely no way. But let's look at that.
I'll look it
Florence
up.
Pugh.
I also
like,
haven't seen Olivia Wilde.
Here,
in
you look
anything.
up. You love Florence Pugh. I'll look up Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, Olivia Wilde is old.
Man, that's just rude.
Florence Pugh is 28.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Olivia Wilde's like older 30s.
She's got to be 40s.
She's 40.
There you go.
I thought she was 30.
I'm trying to keep it young. My young thought was Zendaya.
Yeah, Garrett's like, you know who I think? Betty White.
Zendaya doesn't work for me either.
Yeah,
I could see Zendaya as well.
I think she'd do a good job.
She's got great range.
I think she would do. I think she's just too.
Too bony, too scrawny.
Too small.
But that's the thing about Sigourney Weaver.
She was very
She
tiny.
was, right, that's what I'm
very
saying.
tiny. in
Like
Alien.
oh my god, and Aliens, like there's some weird clothing choices for the time. Makes
It's
sense.
just so funny how in the 87s like tank top, nothing, no bra.
yeah. And also like the whitey tighties for everyone.
Yes.
Tidy whities.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant. Yeah.
There's this really weird underwear scene. I'm like, who decided
I
this was
know.
a good idea even for the time? But yeah, I think but Zendaya, I think she's too small in stature. Sigourney Weaver's relatively tall.
It is tall.
I see. I can only picture her next to Tom Holland, and Tom Holland's super short. And she's only a little bit taller than him. So I'd
say she's what, like 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah, I would say she's pretty tall.
Yeah.
How tall is Zendaya? She's
She's tall, dude.
She's 6'4". Oh, with the heels. Okay. I was
was
like,
gonna say
come
six.
on.
Yeah, wait, what? Hold on.
She's 5'10".
Okay. Yeah, she's tall.
She's like our height. So
Yeah.
damn.
All right, I'm 6'3", bro. Don't disrespect me.
She's 6'4".
She's
With the
Yeah.
heels, yeah.
Yeah. It's like legitimately that's what it says. 6'4". I'm a tall 6'4".
That's crazy.
That's
With
so
these
funny.
heels. I was like, come on.
That's crazy.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm locking in Florence Pugh. I
Florence
think.
Pugh, yeah.
Because
I
just watch
locked
a
that one
trailer
in.
for Midsummer. It's a horror movie.
Is it?
She's got great range.
See, Midsummer to me it's a play.
Oh,
Midsummer Nights.
oh, okay.
Oh, have you seen a trailer for it?
No, I've never seen Midsummer. I assumed it was the play. That's why I was like, I did
it was
in high school.
very.
It's A24, like
Yeah,
Hereditary.
people
type.
loved
Oh
it.
my god! Oh, I just watched Hereditary for the first time. Like,
Worst movie ever.
really?
Worst is in Scariest movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dude, A24 makes some weird films.
I know. We're in a weird era where it's like we got to think of new stuff like that, the birth scene and Romulus,
A24
Hereditary.
A24 does great things. My problem with them is that they're too artsy.
Sometimes I like that.
Yeah, but
Like, did you see Past Lives?
Nope.
It was a Oscar nom last year. A24, incredible.
well, I mean, like,
Super weird. But incredible.
A24 gets tons of, because they're artsy. They're designed to win awards. But like, I mean, like you asked me to watch X, Pearl, and
Oh yeah.
Maxine,
Maxine, yeah.
and they're just weird.
Yeah.
Like-
sometimes they get too lost in the sauce.
Yeah. So while we're waiting on him, what other A24 horror films would you watch or would you recommend?
So I'm not a big horror guy at all.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my relationship with horror films is I get very inspired once every 3 years because everybody's talking about it, and I'm like, maybe I'll start liking them now. And my one for the last 3 year span was Hereditary because everybody talked about it.
I've ignored it because I was like, I just don't have the energy to watch this. And I watched it on a plane. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Gotta be top 5 worst movie to watch on a plane as like a side by passenger. Like imagine there's a person next to you looks over like, why is she sawing her head off?
Why'd you get hit by a telephone
Yeah.
pole? Just that. Oh, I would rather side watch a horror film and be like, okay, they're watching a horror movie. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Versus like early Game of Thrones episode where there's just people
Yeah.
banging and out like half the episode. You know, nudity everywhere, or House of the Dragon where they've got
Oh yeah.
fellatio going on. That's probably the most.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was wild. One time I watched Black Swan on a plane,
Oh, I did watch that on.
and
a
it's
plane,
like 80%
yeah,
totally fine. Then you just get to one scene, and it's like
yep.
Had you kids?
turn your shoulder, turn your shoulder a little bit.
I forgot how dark. I legitimately said that in my review. I was like,
Out of nowhere.
yeah, like I was like, I forgot how dark and how dirty this movie
Yeah.
is. I should not have watched this on a plane.
Yeah.
I've mentioned in this podcast that I write a lot of reviews. They're for nobody. They're for me. It's just so I
Sometimes
can.
it helps you to like put your thoughts
Yeah,
together.
it really is just for me to keep track of what I'm watching and for me to help remember what I felt about the movie at the time. Because like I can watch a movie and think about it, like Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm like, oh, they're great movies. They're really not. Like I started rewatching them. They're not as good as I remember them being.
I don't want to rewatch them for that reason. Because to me, like what's two?
They're one of our household favorites.
Really?
The first three.
You continue
first
to,
three.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
three. Yeah, first three. 4, 5, and 7.
I haven't rewatched
get
them in
weird.
years. Kaylee will go back and rewatch them every 6 months or so. She just
Wow.
got done doing 1, 2, and 3.
What's two? Davy Jones' Locker? Like what's the
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
the
Dead Man's Curse. Is it Dead Man's?
Demon's Curse tale?
No, this is the first one.
Second
No,
one,
this
First
no,
one's
Black
Pirates-
Pearl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Black
Black Pearl.
Black Pearl.
Black Flag.
Dead Man tells no
Tales
Tales
tale.
and Tales.
Okay.
No, that's the third one.
And then
No, third one was World's End.
At
Oh
World's End
yeah,
is the
yeah.
third one.
There's dude. No, Dead Man can't. No, Dead Man's got to is number 4 because the first one came out in 2003. Dead Man Tell No Tales came out in 2017.
Okay.
Which by the way, can we just talk about the idea that a Pirates movie came out in 2017?
Kind of crazy.
Um,
What is number 2? Because the reason I say that's because in my mind, 1 and 2 are genuinely good. The rest are just all right.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Chest.
Dead Man's
Dead Man's
Chest. That's
Chest.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the first one, and that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
So
I'm
good.
similar to you guys. Hey, okay, we're getting a little far fetched here, and but
Yeah.
love the first one.
Yeah.
Side note, you want to know one of the best birthdays I ever had in my life? I think
Best
it was
what?
my birthdays.
Oh, okay.
I think it was either my 6th or 7th grade birthday. I can't remember when. It was whenever Pirates of the Caribbean 3 came out, me and like 20 friends, we ended up renting out a movie theater for my birthday party, and we all watched the third movie. I thought it was
That's dope.
so much fun.
That's dope.
That
Me
sounds
and all
great.
my close friends.
Yeah.
Watching the movie.
Listen, that's what I did in high school for Avatar.
Oh,
Me
nice.
and my brother went to go see it, and it was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, but had a bunch of people.
I
Come.
saw Avatar for my birthday too.
It's a great time.
Great birthday movie.
Yep.
Damn.
You got a December birthday?
No, I have a June birthday.
Maybe
But
it
I-
came back out in theaters, and that's why we went.
Maybe it did because now I'm like, am I lying? But I feel like I
Speaking of
haven't.
your brother, it was really nice. Like we played. This is a very hard tangent, but we played zombies together last night, and you guys have the same voice, but not. It's just talking about the uncanny valley. I was like, that's Connor, but no, I was like, that's Carter, but no, wait, that's not Carter. He talks different. Who is this?
That's the twin.
And then I went and looked. I was like, oh, it's Connor. Oh, okay.
Oh, your brother's name is Connor?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that
It gets confusing.
got
I mean,
confusing. at
dude,
times.
even yesterday, seeing my grandmother-in-law, she came up to me and goes, Carter, now that you have just lost all your weight, I cannot tell the difference between you and Connor. And I'm like,
Is Connor like skinny as well?
and he's a little,
Wait,
he's more in shape, I guess. Now,
Okay.
after I got done with all the football stuff, I was like, I'm just done working out. I want
Really?
to enjoy life. Connor's a little bit bigger now.
Okay.
But yeah, I was probably 30, 35 pounds heavier. Of
Okay.
just like, it wasn't
Dang.
muscle. It was just fat.
Oh, really?
I'll show you pictures.
Dang.
it's like me. I'm just fat. But all right. So off that hard
Big
tangent.
tangent. My fault.
Oh, it's all good. So let's move into our lightning questions. Sarah Connor or Ripley?
Dude. And I love that question because it's very similar in the
Yes.
aspect of innocent. I think Ripley's a little bit more stone cold in Alien versus Sarah in Terminator. She's like such a sweetheart. I take Ripley, but Sarah's awesome.
Sarah, I say Sarah Connor. I think Sarah Connor just goes balls to the wall after a while, and we get that in Aliens, but I think Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
If
She's
there
just
was
a little
fight,
too crazy for me. Ripley still feels like normal,
Yeah.
crazy.
I think Sarah Connor's. I like Sarah Connor better.
Sarah's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a Sarah fan.
Yeah.
For the world's future, Sarah.
Terminator 2, my first rated R movie.
Mine was Air Force One.
Mine was The Matrix.
Wow. Such a good first R movie.
Yeah.
My dad did it when
That's the
mom
one-
left town. Hey boys,
Really?
we're watching stuff this weekend, and it was The Matrix.
I was gonna say, now that I'm my dad,
I need to
there's
go hang
like-
out with your dad.
Yeah. Now that I'm my dad, I'm like, you have certain things that's like rated M game. Like I'll let Halo slide. Like
Oh, yeah.
at an early age.
Uh,
Matrix, I'll let Matrix slide
Yep.
at an early age.
Yep.
I'm not even like other than the blood. I'm not really sure why it was rated R. I think it was
M,
just
you
the
mean,
blood.
or Matrix?
Matrix.
Yeah.
The second one has a sex scene early on. I mean, this was like what 2000. Or,
Yeah.
This is how you know it's his first M-rated movie.
Well, then
Or
that
R-rated
right.
movie.
Like we
He's
literally
like,
fast
no, there
forward-
is
right,
sex.
Right.
Well, that's the
There's
second
sex
one.
in the
Oh,
second
okay,
one.
okay.
Yeah, we fast forwarded it. But like besides that, it's all just guns. There's a ton of language. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is there?
yeah.
Yeah, I
just
don't-
don't remember that.
Yeah, same. It's so funny at first.
Because that's my dad. My dad hates language. Like
Really?
he'll watch blood gore all day long. Language? Oh man, he said, "God damn it, I'm out."
That's the line. That's the line. Yeah, it's so funny. I'm supposed to be rapid fire questions, and now we're
Yeah,
total
yeah.
tangent. My first M-rated or R-rated film in theaters was Zombieland, and I'm like, there is a boob in the first.
There is.
in the
There
first
is.
2 minutes.
Yep.
Matrix 3, I think, was the first one in theaters.
Okay.
So, okay, Alien or Predator? Which one's cooler? Not which one's gonna win the
Cooler?
fight. Which one's cooler?
I would say Predator for like just which one's cooler. Man, the Predator's cool. Yeah.
Dope dreads.
Yeah, he's
like,
badass.
Yeah.
He's invisible.
Yeah. Predator for sure.
Yeah.
Like I know Alien's the perfect organism.
Yeah.
I just like it's perfect because of genetics. Everything's. It's kind of like the idea of like everything's been given to him versus like having to fight for it, which is the whole point of the Predators. They're just
They have survival of the fittest. They
Yep.
literally are predator.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to argue with predator.
They can fight back.
And and the thing, I think this the reason why this is an easier answer for all of us is because it's like predator, you can see the train of thought of how like a human, you could be in their shoes versus aliens. Like I could never be that.
Yeah.
They're just the creepiest
That's
thing
true.
ever. Like
Yeah.
predator, I could put on the mask and have the gun.
There was a
and
movie Predators where they took all the like different warriors from all over the
Yeah.
It was
world.
really good. A bunch of prisons. Or
Yeah. I like that. I like that movie. Did not do well in theaters, but or
entertaining.
critics. But I loved that movie.
Yeah.
I think it was my first like actual like watching Predator not on made for TV. So who is the actual villain of the Aliens movies? The Xenomorphs or the Weyland-Yutani Corporation?
Dude, it's gotta be Wayland.
They're the actual villains, and they're using the Xenomorphs to make.
And that's what I
themselves look better.
love about this
Yeah.
series is it's like sometimes we see that plot device driven from the droids. Sometimes we see it driven from like other humans and aliens. But it ultimately feels like human greed is kind of like the sub message villain, and we see it like driven by different plot devices. So that'd be my answer is Wayland.
I completely agree. Nothing to add.
Yeah, I mean it's like if you get mauled by a tiger, if like you're on a mission to go hunt tigers to sell their skin, and you get
Can't
mauled by a
fight
Tyler.
nature.
Yeah, is the tiger a villain?
No.
Right.
In the series, what was the more effective horror for you? Claustrophobic or jump scares? Like the creepy thing.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
For me, jump scares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny
I
you
know
both say that.
I know it's different for you. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're not a big horror fan. So
But I'm not a big horror fan because of the claustrophobia. Like for me, horror, like a jump scare, it gets me in the moment and then I'm fine 10 seconds later. Like that's something that doesn't bother me about horror. What bothers me is the claustrophobic things that sit in my mind like after the film. And the claustrophobic moments are stuff that sits with me after.
So which sits with you in the movies? Like still creeps you out?
Claustrophobia. Yeah.
Oh no, like what scene?
From which one?
From just what like right now, if you had to choose the creepiest scene because of the claustrophobic feeling, what would it be?
Off the bat, Alien 1, the captain is going through the vent system to try and find one of the other people of the crew. Beep,
Okay.
beep, beep, beep. Don't go that way. Full claustrophobia. Like, yes, there's a jump scene involved in it, but it's the build up, the claustrophobia.
Okay.
That's what
That's fair. Yeah.
wrecks me.
I get your logic, but I like.
It's just
I
because
mean-
you're so tall, Sam.
Yeah.
I can fit in those smaller spaces and get in and out.
was-
The thing is, I'm not a claustrophobic human. Like, that's never been something that, but as a plot device, and because like a jump scare, anybody can play like a sound on 100% volume and
Yeah, that's fair.
flash a light. Everybody's gonna jump.
Yeah, THX back in the day.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. You get scared for a second, and then you come back down. But like the claustrophobia is like, oh, when is this gonna end?
I don't think for me the claustrophobic like that creepy feeling really resided outside the movie for me. Like I never left. I was like, "Ooh, that was creepy." Like I was like as soon as it was over, I was over. Like and that's so the jump scenes for me were more effective, and also because like I got to appreciate like what they did with the jump scene, and I think really that answer really goes to like life in general, like what sticks with you. So
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
Sequel or prequel? Which direction should the series go next?
I kind of answer this while we're talking earlier, but I like the more grounded. Give us smaller plots that are.
Yeah, but I understand that.
I would say sequel.
Sequel?
We'll just keep moving forward.
Yeah, same thing. Sequel. I mean, I feel like at this point too, with Prometheus and Covenant, we have gotten the prequels and kind of have that world, but then also building off of what you were talking about. Give us two different ones. Keep going with the Prometheus and Covenant. Give us a little take here, and then also, hey, maybe we could have.
I
something
know,
later on.
like I know, someone's gonna get really mad but I would love to see like a prequel of like if they want to do the like AVP thing, do a prequel, but it's the Predator is the engineer, and it's their first. Like I would love to see that. Give me like an action film AVP. It's the engineers first fighting the aliens, and what because aliens didn't look the same. They've been they've changed their look, but like. Give me that. Even if you want to make the justification that the Predators are like the engineers, like just changed because of survival of the fittest. They've changed, and that's why they wear the mask now because they need to be able to survive in space. They can't do that without the alien. Give me that. I'd like a prequel.
That'd be fun.
I want more information about the alien. I think that's really what I want from the series next. Is I want to know where they come from. Which just trying to visualize where the writer would go with that. I got no idea. That's why I'm not a writer.
And that's my thought is like we've seen prequels.
You have the potential to ruin it.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if
there's too many Garretts in the world where it's like
wait.
We're
Don't insult me. I don't even know where this is going.
This isn't an insult. That are deep enough into the lore where they know this doesn't add up.
This
doesn't add up, and this upsets me and kind of ruins the film.
See, I don't think any there's not a lore piece that I'm like, oh, this ruins the films for me. Like I'm like, all right, cool, that's where you went. I got it. I might not agree with it, but I'm not the writer. I enjoy it. We can look at the Halo movie, TV show. I enjoyed the Halo TV show. People are like, it's not canon. I don't care. I'm enjoying it. I just want to be entertained. That's what movies and TV shows are supposed to be. So the lore. So
you're saying if you got lore that didn't add up from what we know to some extent, but it's still an entertaining movie, you'd be happy with that?
It would definitely hurt the movie score in my brain. Hey, this doesn't make sense knowing where it goes. See, the thing is, you got to be able to reach. We already have, like, if we're calling Aliens M at this point, because we have Prometheus and Covenant and a 200-year or whatever year gap or whatever, and then we have Romulus, which is 40 years after that, and then we have whatever. You have to be able to connect. All the dots have to match. So, like, if you want to go back a couple hundred years and show me engineers and whatever, I should be able to make okay, cool, I see where you're going, where the larger picture goes. But if you got, like, the alien is a human from 200 years ago and it's just been genetically modified, that doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. Because if it did, Weyland-Yutani, who is a multi-trillion-dollar company in their world, would figure it out. So, favorite alien creature other than the xenomorph?
Like out of any series?
Yeah. That was my question. I think I would have to say Predator, because I can't think of any other alien other than like E.T. You know,
I'm thinking about Mass Effect.
Yeah,
Garrus.
Yeah, like Garrus, like
the
Turians or whatever.
Turians, they are like
so cool.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I
mean, even the Covenant, Halo, they're
right. Covenant is sick. Yeah. Witnesses are lame. Yeah, I'd probably say I like Turians.
Yeah, Turians, Predator. I'd go with one of those two. All right. Which is the worst fate? And this will be our final lightning round. Chest burster or face hugger? Now, granted, the face hugger does like...
So you're saying face hugger kills you? Like,
yeah.
The worst fate? Dude. The chest burster, because face hugger, you get knocked out cold.
I was gonna say I'd probably go chest, because with the chest they're all awake. They're all sitting here.
You're just building. You're like something's wrong with me.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
chest burster.
Like you're saying, the
worst
face
way to
hugger,
die.
You're knocked out.
You're knocked
whatever.
out,
You're on the ground.
Yeah, because
it's scary coming at you, but the chest, no.
I'm good. I'm taking it. I'm
taking
it. I'm ending things on my own terms.
I am curious if that would work. That would be a great plot point for the next movie. If the compromised host died, and I won't say they killed themselves or unalived or whatever the stupid non-censored version of that sentence is. If they died, if the host died, would the chest burster die?
Probably not. It'd probably be like what we saw with
Romulus,
yeah,
that's a good point. But I'm curious if it, but because they're living off the the nutrients in the host, so
right.
That'd be an interesting thing. Cool. Well, thank y'all for doing this with me as always. We have talked about a lot of aliens, and we had some really hard tangents this one. But our next episode will be the last one of the year. It's our awards show. And what that means is that we need people to actually vote. So in the show notes, there will be a link to a survey that has a bunch of awards that we have come up with. Some of them are like, your typical like best picture of the year, best TV show, whatever. But then we also have some like, epic screen time version awards that could be anything we've watched throughout the year. It doesn't have to be something that came out this year. So if like you rewatch something, like I'm watching Top Gear right now because the Grand Tour just did their final one, and I love Hammond and the other two, and so I'm rewatching Top Gear until they leave to watch Grand Tour to watch that, and so like that to me might be my favorite show of the year. But it definitely didn't come out this year.
Okay.
And so, but to do that, we've all come up with answers, and those answers is what you all as listeners will vote on. Hey, out of our choices, what is the better option, and that will be the award that is given out. So we will basically narrow the field, and you all will get to decide this is. We'll pass the same survey out to our friends, so that way they'll get some in. So the more answers we get, the more diversity we'll get. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I think that's all I got. I didn't make the alien drink with lime sherbet because the lime sherbet was completely frozen.
Sad.
I did not pull it out in time, so I guess I'll have to make it and bring it by. Thankfully, y'all live down the road.
I will enjoy it. I was excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff's still out. So, yes, thank you all for listening and watching if you're watching on YouTube. And be on the lookout for the next one and the survey. Go help us out. And maybe some new things on the horizon. So take care.
Ooh.
And we'll see you soon.
So I started a new one, and I was like, let me go try round of zombies. I was like, because back in the day, it was like, get an LMG or get a shotgun, and those would help keep you alive. So I was like, let me try the LMG.
It was pretty good last time.
It's good. I am in a similar boat with you, though. It takes really long to reload. And like, if you
get the fast hands, it's not bad.
that's when I'm just worried. Like, if you go down and you lose that fast hands, it is like, you really have to make sure you get out of
All right. No, that's it.
Oh.
We're making the other drinks.
Scene, I guess, that Kaylee saw of Romulus was the
Pregnancy? Or did you finish it?
The pregnancy. Yes.
Okay.
The only scene
Dude.
she saw was, and she goes, "What the hell are you watching?"
Dramatic.
And I'm like, "Oh, Kaylee, it's towards." She's like, and then towards the end, I was like, "Check out this guy." And she's like, "This is weird." I'm like,
Creepiest
mm-hmm.
xenomorph by far.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, you see him, the first scene that it shows him in like his totality of like him standing up, we're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah.
And he's just eating the girl.
It was good.
It was good. As soon as she did that, just because like Prometheus came to mind, I'm like, that baby is turning into an alien.
Yes.
But this takes place after Alien. It's the alien they got from the first one, from the 1979 film. That's the alien that was in the rafters.
The one that she gave birth to?
No. The one that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Prometheus and Covenant we're really getting into the.
Well, okay,
No, I'm just saying, like, as soon as she did the injection, it just. I don't know if it's lore accurate, but I'm like, I'm willing to bet on my life that baby turns into an alien just because of what happened to Prometheus.
And here's what.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I guess here's
internal prediction.
So
Yes.
I'm sure we'll go over this on the podcast. So if we want to wait, I can hold my questions because I have. Okay, I have
I would say hold your questions.
I'll hold my questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there were some things that came up.
Yeah, no, but I really liked it.
I did too.
I'd say it's probably like my third favorite in the series.
Yeah, I agree.
It's good.
It was a good watch. I wish I saw it in the theaters because like it was a good.
Oh yes,
I cranked it, had my surround sound.
See, that's what I did.
Yeah, definitely beats my meeting pause.
I watched most of it on my iPad, just laying in bed, and then I was like, okay, Kaylee, I'm throwing this thing on. And then this morning she was like, what is this? I was like, this is what I'm gonna watch.
The zero gravity scene definitely lived up to.
Very cool.
How everybody's hyping it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like. That's something I was thinking going into. Like, how many times can they redo this plot? Of like, we're stuck in a spaceship with this super freak of a predator.
I agree, and that's where it had the same lore, the same nostalgia, but a different, I guess, take on it.
Yeah.
And that's what was fresh. That's what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this isn't anything we haven't seen before, but oh, that's a cool twist.
Yes. And I like the plot. It wasn't just like. Human beings are greedy.
Yeah.
Which I mean, still kind of is because they were trying to get like their golden ticket,
right? From corporate, and all
right?
That.
But it wasn't like it wasn't just like the classic plot of like corpos like.
Oh, that's a good one.
Forcing them into this situation and they're trying to survive type.
Right.
This is a meat recipe.
Is it?
It is. Honestly, I'm just trying to get rid of the stuff.
Oh,
no, yeah, come on.
There you go.
So
I'll drink it.
Yeah, no, definitely good. Like definitely something I would drink.
How is